Hi, this is Ernie. I'm the guy who had $6 in his checking account to now having millions of dollars. Thank you so much for people reaching out to me to make sure that I'm okay because I haven't posted anything for the last couple days. My sinus infection was so bad. I've been on medication. I've been resting ever since my wife came back from a cruise. It's been a tough couple days, but I think I'm finally well enough to post something. So let's begin. I want to talk about something, and this is um, this is a typical guideline or assessment that I do when I talk to my friends or my family members, and you be able to keep score as well, so that you be able to tell me how much of you are on the left side versus the right side. Right? This is my right side. Um, So these are the common characteristics of poor versus wealthy. And you tell me, I used to be on the poor side um, for actually almost all of them. So I needed to change my mindset and create a habit. And I actually wrote this down on a piece of paper in front of like my room, my bathroom, so that I keep reminding myself that I need to change my behavior. But let's start with the first one. Poor people spend money first and then invest what's left. It's to me, it's a very common sense, right? But wealthy people, if you look at their habits, not after they became wealthy, but people who eventually became wealthy, they invest first. So they carve out the money that they want to invest. So they have a goal, whether it's $100 a month, $400 a month, or even $25 a month. After they take that out, they spend what is left. So it's the prioritization. Spending is important, and then what is left I invest versus I set aside money that I need to invest first and then I spend. I used to be on the poor side. And then I look at my paycheck and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can maybe deposit $200 this month. Yeah, that is the wrong habit to have, which is why I've been preaching to people that you need to do recurring investment so that money will automatically go in so that you don't even know that money left. Second, people use credit card to travel or use debt to travel versus people who eventually became wealthy. All the money that they have eventually saved, right? So they invested and they budget themselves and there's a little bit of money left. Once that money is accumulated enough, then they go travel. Versus, and let me just charge it on my credit card and then go. So that's the key difference between these poor and wealthy ones. Obviously, the poor one rely on one source of income. And I know that there are a lot of financially unfortunate people who are having 2 to 3 jobs. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people who are making, went to college or high school graduate, making decent amount of money. The one who eventually became wealthy, they had multiple sources of income. Not they eventually built multiple sources of income so that even if they lose that job, there's always income to support themselves. And I actually talk about this all the time that you need to have sell something online or, digital marketplace. You could create digital notebooks or photo albums, something online and upload it to Canva and make money that way. Or in my case, I make these videos, although I spend probably more time and maybe the ROI is not there, but it's just another source of income. And that money, I don't even touch it. It goes automatically into investment for my kids. And this is how I used to be. They think about risk when they're thinking about investing. Their initial perception is it is risky to invest. Versus the wealthier people, when they started, it is risky not to invest. Risky as in my future, my retirement will be at risk if I don't invest today. If there is a down market, I don't invest, then it is risky for me to now take advantage of the current down market that could potentially enhance my future down the road. So how they do the risk assessment is also very different. And I used to be on the other side. I tell them, growing up in Korea, we hear about people losing houses or even kids. I don't know if that was actually true or not. So to me, it was always considered risky. And I think that's why my parents never invested in stocks. But when I look at my brother-in-law and his friends, they're like, then how are you going to survive when you retire? Like, it is risky to not invest right now because you might not have a lot of income down the road, or you might not be able to save if you have a lot of rainy days. So that's the key difference. Another thing, and this is why I tend to read a lot, I tend to do a lot more research, is people who are on the poor side, they think studying is done once they leave school, whether it's high school or college, versus the other group, they think studying is forever, and they're actively out there trying to learn something new. Another key difference, poor people hang out with poor people, and they take advice from poor people, financial advice from poor people. It boggles my mind why they do. It's like getting a dating advice from somebody who has never dated. It's mind-boggling, right? Versus people who are well off, they want to hang out with people where they can learn something from them. I know sometimes it just doesn't sound right, but it's just their tendency. I want to learn about investing. I want to learn about how to take care of kids. Like, I spend a lot of time with my friends to build patience and set expectations when it comes to raising kids. So it depends, right? It depends on what you're looking for, but that's how they typically look for their circle. Not only circle of friends, but one of many circles of friends. And I'll talk about this again. Poor people buy expensive cars that they shouldn't afford or they cannot afford. I'm not going to say who it is, but I know a couple, and actually one lady who sells plasma to pay for her car. That is not the right thing to do. You should buy a car that you can afford. Versus people who are well off, they buy cars within their budget. And lastly, this is the most important thing. And in some ways, I've gotten very lucky with my investment, and I'll talk about this in another video. But the poor people believe that wealth is predominantly due to luck, versus people who eventually became wealthy, they said it is based on how hard you work at it. So that is incredibly different mindset. Some people will say, hey, Ernie, you made some good trades, you made a lot of money. But if you're thinking about, I think I mentioned this many times, $100 a month starting age of 20 until 64. Sorry if I have food in my mouth, I was just eating the leftover buns. If you have $100 a month in recurring investment from age 20 to 65, so 45 years, you will have $1 million. That does not require luck. It's a financial commitment that you need to make. That's it. And if you are able to make financial commitment of $400, you're going to retire with $4 million. There is no luck involved. It's about being consistent. Anyway, hopefully this is useful. Hopefully I'll continue to recover so I can post more videos. Please like, comment, repost, tell your friends about this, and also don't forget to follow for more investment and money saving tips. And I will see you guys soon.